everyone, we're back to yet another video, and today we're going to talk about how to choose colors for your character. Now there's obviously lots of ways to do this. Sometimes you will get it right away, you just think of your character and you know right away what kind of colors you're going to use, but sometimes it's a bit harder. So let's see a few ways that I use when choosing colors. Now, one of the ways, and this is probably the most important, is by using color harmonies. So what are color harmonies? Very simply put, these are color schemes that usually work together. They will always work together if you follow those rules. And these are the kind of colors that you will see in nature. So let's see what kind of color harmonies there are and that you can use. So the first one is the complementary color scheme. So as the name says, basically you're going to choose a color in your color wheel and then you just find its complement. So here we have the green, let's see what's in the other side, and we have this pink. So basically you choose one color and then you'll see what is in the opposite side of that color in the color wheel, and bam, you have a color scheme right away. Of course, you don't need to only use this exact green and this exact pink, you can use all the tones inside that color. So you don't only need to use two colors, you can go a bit further with it. These will always work together. Using one tone or one color and then going for the opposite one, they will always look good together. Now the next one is the monotone. So here it's even easier, or sometimes a little bit harder, because you'll have to be very well organized when using this, because you're just picking one color. Again, you don't need to use only this yellow, you can use different tones of yellow inside this color, but it can be a bit harder to be successful with it. Either way, it's always really fun to use just one color. So you have complementary, monotone. Next we have analogous. So with analogous, this means you're going to pick three colors that are next to each other. So again, just pick one color and then see what is on their sides. And then there we go, you have three colors that you can use for your characters. I think analogous can be a bit of the easiest ones to use because you have three colors, you can combine them so your character won't look too boring or the colors will all overlap each other, so it can be a little bit of the easiest one to use. Then you have triadic, which is a bit similar. It's a mix of analogous with complementary, so you use three colors as well, but they're going to be opposite to each other as in the complementary color scheme. So you pick one color and then you see what is opposite to that color. Divide the color wheel in three parts. So we have here the blue, the red and the yellow. And then finally you have the tetradic. And as the name says, you use four colors. It is very similar to triadic because you're going to pick one color and see what is opposed to it. Now, tetradic again can be a bit tricky to pull off because you have four colors and sometimes it can be a bit of a mess and you use all colors at the same quantity and it might be not so interesting, but it's still a very good color scheme to use. It's only a matter of practice to pull it off right. Let's just see here a few examples. So I have here, I made this for Mermaid. If you don't know what Mermaid is, it's a challenge in May where you're just drawing mermaids, and I really wanted to be limited with my color palettes. So as you can see here, this is obviously a monotone color scheme, so I picked the yellow, but as you can see, I did use more than one tone of yellow. And one thing you'll notice is that I'm using this yellow here the most. So this yellow that is in our color wheel is the one that I use the most, and the other ones are not, you don't see them as much. So as you can see, they're quite well balanced here and it makes the whole piece quite interesting. So this is the way to color your character. Let's see another example. So I have here this watermelon girl. I had lots of fun drawing this one, and as you can see, we have here a complementary color scheme. So we have the red and the green. Red and green always go very well together. Again, as you can see here, I have the green only on her dress and then some accents of red. You don't have a lot of red in the girl herself. And then I use the red, most of the red, for the background, so there's some contrast between the green here and the red, and they work very well together. I really enjoy working with this kind of color scheme, with complementary schemes, because I think they're always very vibrant and the contrast between the colors works really well. So at the beginning, if you're just starting to color your characters and you don't know color very well yet, go for complementary schemes. They will always look great. Then finally, just one more example. Here we have Super Mario. So looking at him, you can probably guess right away which kind of scheme he's using. It's the triadic scheme. I already had these exact colors before, so as you can see, he has the blue, the red and the yellow. Now notice there's very little yellow in Super Mario. It's only for the buttons here, so it is very well balanced. So you have most of it is blue, most of his body is blue, then you have some red for the shirt and the hat, and just a tiny little bit of yellow. If you had the yellow in the same quantity as the rest, it would be a bit messy, but here it is pleasant. So again, if you're using more than 2 colors, be careful with that. Choose 1 or 2 colors that are going to be primary and the other one just for some accents, like you see here. One way to choose the color scheme for your character is by using color harmony. So you pick a color harmony and you do it. You use it for your own characters. My next tip for choosing colors for your characters is by using warm or cold colors. So if you look to a color wheel, you'll notice that the colors are divided between warm and cold. So from this yellow to this pink here, this pink is a bit between the cold and the warm, but because it's mixed with some red, with mostly red, but here you have some warm colors. All of these are warm. And then from here to here, yes, my curves are amazing, we know that. We have cold colors. So usually if you use colors that are warm, they will look good with each other. The red looks good with the pink, the red and the orange as well. All these yellows look good together. And the same goes for cold tones. The purples and the blues work well together, the greens as well. So if you pick cold or warm colors, of course it depends a bit of the kind of character you're using. So for example, if your character lives by the coast, maybe you'd want to go for more warmer tones. But if your character lives in the top of the mountains, for example, maybe you'd want to go for colder colors. So knowing your character is very important, and this is why I always recommend making a mood board for your character. This is very useful for building your character, building their story, their personality, anything you want, but also to choose the colors. So my next tip is to use a mood board. I always create a mood board for my characters and I always try to see some colors for them. So as you can see here, I already have a palette and I actually used these colors here, some of these colors for my character because I really like them. I wanted my character to have very neutral tones. He lives in a forest, he's all about nature, so I wanted to use the browns and the greens. And since he's a draw character, he's a dark elf, I wanted these blue tones for the skin tone, so I thought this palette was really perfect for them. So just find some images that you think are appropriate for your character. So as I said, for example, my character likes coffee, he likes living home, but he's a bit messy, so you see all this stuff in this desk here. He lives in the forest, a bit far away from other people. He uses jackets that are a bit too big for him. He likes books. So as you can see, all these things help me choose the colors. So for example, we have here May from Overwatch. She wears very warm clothing. Why? Because if you know her story, if you ever played, she lives in the Arctic. She's part of a research team in the Arctic, so of course she's going to wear something that is very warm. And the colors she uses also very indicative of where she lived or lives right now. So as you can see, there's the white here, the blues, the grays, and a bit of brown. So all these colors are very cold. And even though the brown here, so the browns comes from the yellows, right, the yellows and the oranges, but it's very unsaturated, so it has very low saturation, so it goes a bit more towards a colder tone. Even if you don't know Mei, even if you never heard of Overwatch, if you look at her, you know that she lives in a cold place, both from her clothing and the colors. Then on the other hand, I have here my character Jonah. So if you look at him, you'll notice right away that he maybe lives in a totally opposite place as Mei. He's definitely not living in a colder place. He might be living in a bit of a mild place, maybe near the coast. It's a bit warmer. He wears shorts. He doesn't wear any shoes. His hair is short. Everything about him alludes that he lives in a bit of a warmer place, and that is also shown with his colors. He has very orange tones, very vibrant ones. Again, we have some greens here. Even though green is a cold color, it's very vibrant, and combined with the rest of his colors, I think it really alludes to the fact that he lives in a warmer place, and probably he lives near the water. As you can see, knowing your character, making that mood board can be very helpful to choosing your colors. Now, the other thing you want to have into attention is your character a main character or a secondary character? So I have here Goku and Vegeta. Obviously in Dragon Ball, Goku is the main character, so let's hear the main differences. So Goku's colors is mostly orange and blue. As you can see, orange takes part of most of his outfit. On the other hand, Vegeta is about mostly blue, as opposite with Goku, a bit of yellow and some white. Now, both of them have very strong colors, but as you can see, Goku's color scheme is more vibrant. They're more vibrant, they will pick at your attention right away. If you have Vegeta and Goku side by side, you look for Goku first. If you're drawing a main character, you might want to go for stronger and vibrant colors, but with secondary characters, you might want to colors that are a bit more neutral. So this is another way to pick your colors, is by understanding your character, and it will be easier to choose the colors. Now, there's another way to pick your colors. I don't fully recommend doing this, at least not at all times, because I think you should be conscious of the colors you're choosing for your characters, but sometimes you can come for colors.co and look for palettes. You just click start generator and it's going to choose you some palettes. If you don't like this one, you can go for the next one, and so on and so on. Now, again, I think especially if you're just starting and if it's a character that is very important to you, you should choose the colors by yourself and not with using a random palette that you just found. Unless you already have an idea of what kind of colors you want for your character, then okay, do find some palettes online. If not, try to use other methods like choosing a color harmony and being conscious of all these little things about your character. Knowing your character very well will always help you choose colors. Now, finally, my final tip is for you to try to keep it as simple as possible. For example, here I have Kidan, one of my characters. She's one of my first characters, and as you can see, she has a bit of a problem, which is she has quite a lot of colors here. Like, look at her. We have here, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 colors. Now this can be a bit harder to tackle at the beginning, or even always. Sometimes just adding too many colors, it doesn't make your character as special. So for example, if you have here again Goku, he has so the skin tone 1, the hair 2, the clothing, 3, 4, and then okay, maybe we have a 5 here in this in the shoelaces. But as you can see, it's very simple. And subscribe to see more videos, and as always, keep on drawing.